I have left from the same boat launch on Pitt Lake before for a paddling adventure a few years ago. This one will be a bit different. We will be carrying pack rafts, then hiking up to and floating across Widgeon Lake. From there we plan to bushwhack to the Alpine and find the fabled B-25 plane crash site. We just paddled up to the Widgeon Creek campsite from, the boat launch at Pitt Lake. And we paddled that section in a canoe, but we're both carrying pack rafts because we're going to go up to Widgeon Lake now. This is a pretty heavy bag. This is Alex, by the way.
Hi.
Yeah. And yeah, ready to go.
Side of the mountain, but they would lower down like a 13-year-old kid, and it was like an honor to be the one picked to do this.
Yeah. Up. If I were to compare the hike to Widgeon Lake to a hot sauce, it would be smooth and subtle at the beginning, and then wham, it just melts your mouth off towards the end. Because that's exactly what this trail does. Difficult and steep towards the end, all kinds of routes. But when you get here, you see how worth it is. You see the beautiful lake, and it's perfection. So now I get to put the legs up in the pack raft, which is a nice change of pace. You know, use the arms, give the legs a break. And here we get to paddle across absolutely perfectly flat Widgeon Lake as the sun drops behind the ridge. We plan to camp on the far shore, close to where we'll start the ascent up into the Alpine tomorrow. But that was already a pretty big day just to get up to and across the lake. You know, that was, we were carrying big packs. So it is just such a beautiful evening up here. Awesome. And Alex here has been dropping the rod in the water. Already caught and released a small rainbow trout, which was cool to see. So there are fish in Widgeon Lake. Fins out.
Putting it back. Is that it?
Yeah. We camped on the north end of Widgeon Lake last night, and now this morning we're about to start up the bushwhack. We got to make it through these trees behind me and in the easiest way possible and break the tree line so that we can get up to the Alpine, and that's when it's finally all going to make sense. Got a little bit of blood on the knees on that one. After that bushwhack, let's cool down in the freezer. Gotta film the fun parts.
Wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
How do the legs feel?
My arms too now, not just my legs. I feel like there's stingy nettle mixed in with that too. Don't grab the thorns.
There yet? Almost. We gained approximately 850 meters of elevation from the shore of the lake to the top of the ridge. Like last night, it was like I thought we were out.
No, we still got a full thing.
On top of the mountain, there are really big, flat granite slabs. Several beautiful campsites, flat enough you can just sleep right on. We have the west-facing view of this beautiful sunset coming up. This is a spectacular spot. Lots of water around, there's still snow, so we got water to drink. This is perfect. We washed off in the beautiful tarn, and then I bathed myself in bug spray, and the bugs still don't care. So good thing I have this personal head net because they're ferocious. Just ravenous. We're both like appetite for days. But it's dinner with a view, it's pretty good.
Whiskey?
Sure. Thanks. If you don't mind little bugs. On January 29, 1953, a Royal Canadian Air Force B-25 Mitchell disappeared while flying over the mountains to the north of Vancouver. On February 16, the search was called off. The wreckage was not located until 8 months later, when the winter snow melted, revealing what it had preserved. All 5 crew on board died on impact. The probable cause of the crash was said to be severe weather and freezing rain, which froze the flaps, leaving the pilots unable to control the plane's elevation. The first person to reach the wreckage was Sergeant Jack Ostad, who jumped from 5 feet into the snow from a helicopter, and then prepared an area for it to land in the rugged terrain. The military also sent in a crew of 7 men on the ground, which ended up taking them 5 days to reach the crash site. A very arduous and grueling trip. Debris is scattered all over the area, and 70 years of snows have spread some pieces further down the mountainside. I will not be taking anything from this site, and neither should anyone else. It is a site of historical significance, where 5 people lost their lives, tragically. in this plane crash, and so no trophies or souvenirs are to be taken. Take photos or videos only. The bodies were identified and airlifted by helicopter out to a staging area that had been set on the grounds of a high school in Port Coquitlam. A military team of 17 men stayed at the location of the crash for 3 days, removing instruments and documenting data that would help solve the reason the plane crashed. This is what the B-25 Mitchell looked like. I think it's a mean-looking plane. It was a medium bomber used extensively in World War II by many Allied forces. Capable of 480 kilometers an hour while carrying a 1,100 kilogram payload over a range of 1,900 kilometers, it was an extremely durable workhorse. Some are still flying to this day, like this Mitchell 3 at Brantford, Ontario, owned by the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum. I was also keen on going up one peak while in the area and had Peneplain to the west in my sights. I followed the ridge over and scrambled up the southeast aspect.
Peneplain Peak. Woohoo! Haha!
So this is the summit of Peneplain Mountain, which is at 1707 meters above sea level. You know what's interesting about Peneplain is that near the rock on the top of this mountain is from the Eocene erosional surface, which actually predates the coast mountains. So there's some extremely old rock which only exists in a couple places in BC, and this summit is one of them. It was exciting to come up here. I'm glad to have done it. And now I gotta follow that ridge all the way back to camp. Time to go back. So we slept on the shore of Widgeon Lake last night. Now to return, we just have to paddle back across the lake, down from the lake 8 kilometers to the Widgeon Creek connection to Pitt River, then across out the river to the canoe launch. That's all we gotta do today, so it's not as bad. Bob.